So let's just go ahead and start from the very beginning. And then we'll move on up to how it's connected to reparations that we still speak of about today. So let's just go back to the very beginning. This is right after the Civil War, 40 acres and a mule.
You probably heard the phrase 40 acres and a mule. Here's what happened. In January 1865, a meeting in Savannah, Georgia, between Union military leader General William Tecumseh Sherman and a group of 20 black ministers resulted in a plan to redistribute confiscated and abandoned Confederate land from South Carolina to Florida. They called the land Sherman's Reserve. Newly freed slaves would be allocated 40 acres of land along with a mule. The phrase, which became well known even then, spread quickly. The plan had the potential to revolutionize race relations in the South and the economic future of the African American community.
The significance about formerly enslaved being given the land that they had actually worked was that they would be able to generate wealth as well as create wealth generationally.
By the summer of 1865, thousands of black families had settled on portions of the Sherman Reserve and were excited to plot their futures. But later that year, as part of his Reconstruction Plan, actually intended to appease the former Confederacy, President Andrew Johnson abruptly canceled the order, giving the land back to its previous owners.
The United States had the opportunity to make it possible for the formerly enslaved people to be economically independent, and the country failed to do it.
That initial meeting more than 100 years ago between General Sherman and Savannah's leading black ministers was historic. At least for a brief moment in history, the opinion of black leaders had led directly to a radical public policy initiative. Remarkably, over a century and a half later, on June 19, 2019, the House of Representatives held a hearing on H.R. 40, a bill named in honor of the famous phrase, 40 acres and a mule. The bill would establish a commission to study the concept of reparations for slavery and Jim Crow segregation, including the merits of a formal apology by the United States government.
Later on, we'll get to that whole apology from the government. That wasn't we asked for, but just to give you a spoiler, we wasn't the first country to ask for an apology from their country, and we got the same results they did. So, just a spoiler. We're gonna get to it. So, Anna, what you think?
There's a pattern I sense of, gee, what I learned in school was bullshit.
Most of it is.
So if I understand right, this is a piece of land that was kind of like South Carolina down to almost Florida?
Yes.
Was this arable land, I wonder? Because isn't a lot of that swamps?
Yeah.
Okay. And, yeah, apology never comes.
Tracy?
I'm going to try to remember that I went to church today. I'm going to try my best. I don't think I'm going to succeed because it amazes me that a country that talks about how other countries terrorize their own people do the same to its own people. Not only did you kidnap Africans from their homeland, you enslaved them against their will, and then you gave them, let's be honest, crappy land. Wasn't the best land. You weren't going to give them the best land. And then Andrew Jackson, the original founder of the KKK, decides, you know what, I'm going to take it back. And I'm going to give reparations
Johnson.
to Johnson.
This was Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
It wasn't Jackson?
No,
Now
no.
Jackson was the one who greenlit another round of slaughter for the indigenous
Oh,
peoples of America.
I'm getting my racist bigots confused. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
yeah, different evil white man.
Yeah.
yeah, I just this kind of stuff. It makes me so angry. You give us crap land. No offense to the people of South Carolina down to Florida, but it wasn't the best. But it was
Marshmallow.
something. But you, ugh. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember, and I don't, because I feel like I want to just say, America, you make me sick. I can't with. I can't. It just and
You
the
might well you might as well hold that anger because we got two more videos.
oh gosh.
And it
And I,
wouldn't even cover all of the formerly enslaved. And
Yeah,
like,
because some of them moved north, and then what about the ones that moved westward of? What they supposed to do? All live between Georgia and South Carolina?
like I said, I took a nap. I'm in a pretty good daggone mood. Tracy,
Oh,
they didn't give a rat's butt how you was gonna handle it. They didn't care. First of all, you're talking about land that was confiscated. So I don't even know when I'm just speaking for myself. How did you figure a person who lost the freaking war decided I'm just gonna give this confiscated land that not even mine anymore, decide to give it this swamp, dust affected things, and hey, y'all divide the land the best you can.
no, we'll give you 40 acres and one mule. One.
Do the best you can.
the
Some of y'all
mule wasn't even a part of the thing at first. Wasn't that a weird add-on?
so things go a little deep into it. No.
So first of all, thank you everybody. Hey everybody. So look, man, I ain't even mad because at a certain point you gotta stop being mad and recognize, a snake for a snake. You know what I'm saying? The only reason you can really be mad at some of this stuff is because you keep thinking or insisting that reality is not real. I mean, come on. First of all, this is confiscated land, so this wasn't all crap land. So that's one thing I will put out there. And I'm leading this to somewhere. Two, it's over by the coasts, right? So when we think of like South Carolina and the swampland where a lot of the black people are, the Geechee people and stuff like that, those were escaped blacks. Okay, those were escaped or free blacks. So that kind of was outside of this. So that's why they are in some really garbage kind of land. But and it wasn't really all that bad then either because they were growing, I think, like rice or whatever they grow out there. But the thing about it was they could do confiscated land because the North had won. So it was now the United States. And the United States can do whatever it wants to with its land. So it said, hey, to the victor goes the spoils. We're going to take this land and we're going to take a piece of it, definitely not the best of it, but some of it. And we're going to give you essentially a territory. So think about, and I'm just drawing this as a parallel. Think of the Native American people. What did they do? America wrote treaties with the indigenous people of America, and then they pushed them off into reserves. And they pushed them into land that they thought at the time wasn't worth anything. And so that was their way of saying, hey, instead of killing you or making you go into some form of bondage, we're going to push you out here. And hey, you got land, right? That's the thought process of these people at the time that they were doing this to us. So this was not some big charitable thing. It was really, let's get you out the way and let's try to make y'all not be so mad at us. But real talk, we don't owe you nothing. We could kill you if we feel like it. So they push us off. They want to push us off into these. What's the word I just used for the Native American?
Reservations.
Reservations, right? They don't want to push you out there. But here's the kicker. That was a deal that was structured by a man who was fighting the Civil War. So that was Abraham Lincoln who gave permission to Sherman to figure it out. And this is what Sherman figured out. Okay? Now, Sherman is a general. He only has the authority that the president gave him. So when they murdered the president, they had to get a new president, and the new president was a Southern sympathizer. That was Johnson. And Johnson has no love for black folks. Neither did really Lincoln, but Johnson really didn't have any love for us. So he turned around and said, yo, we don't have to give them anything. Shut up. You're free now. That's what you get. And he canceled everything. And then Marlon's probably going to put this in the next piece. So I'm going to say this real quick. Then, add insult to injury, because that's what America does. It violates every treaty it ever makes. Turned around and said, yeah, what we were going to give you, we're going to get that back to them, and then we're going to pay them